When I was a child, I loved Lewis Carroll's Alice stories. However, though we shared a name, I did not identify myself with that other Alice. Perhaps it was because of the beautifully specific Tenniel drawings. It is hard to think about those books without recalling those drawings. I was quite clear I was not Carroll's Alice. Not blonde, not one to wear dresses except to school. I enjoyed sharing the name, but I did not try to inhabit the character, being more intrigued by the intellectual puzzles posed by the stories. Decades later, I reread the books, deliberately trying to experience them differently. As I read, I imagined myself looking out through that other Alice's eyes at the fantastical worlds of Wonderland and through the looking glass. I was trying to feel what it would have been like to have been there myself. Issues of age and appearance were irrelevant. I forgot about the Tenniel drawings. Then I started making my own photographic images to reflect the emotions I experienced while reading the books. For each picture, I started with a quotation that I used as a title. The outcome was a set of pictures that both reinterpreted a classic text and explored my own sense of curiosity, bewilderment, and wonder. How my internal monologue often takes the form of a dialogue as I argue with myself. How, when I consider how I have changed over the years, I marvel that I can still recognize in myself as I am today bits of what I was like when I was young, while simultaneously marveling at all of the changes. I made pictures about my own confusion about how to be in the world, how I often felt that I was just the wrong size emotionally, and therefore unable to fit in. I felt I could be too assertive and large, while simultaneously too close to invisibly small. The paradox is unnerving, like trying to stand on a knife's edge that defines the essentially unattainable perfect emotional size. And then there was that nagging, demanding, contrarian voice in my own head, judging me both for my less than genuine facade and for the very real hidden feelings. At times, questioning if I was somehow an imposter. Berating myself on the occasions when sadness left me close to immobile. And finally, acknowledging that, just as for any other living being, this all could end at any moment. I found more than just myself in those books. Thinking about the rhyme about Humpty Dumpty, I thought about how shattering my father's death had been. He had also been bald, and he also loved words. When I cleared out my parents' house after my mother died almost 30 years after my father had died, I found this broken bowl, one that he had made, and just as my mother had not been able to discard it, I too was unable to throw it out. I took it home with me, and it found another life as the main subject of this picture, memorializing the feeling of loss that death of a loved one brings. But then, as I pondered what it meant for the Cheshire Cat's grin to linger after the rest of the creature had faded away, I considered my mother's lasting legacy of realistic optimism and her poem about finding joy, even amidst brokenness. I won't ask for big joys. They are so few, so far apart. I'll take the myriad little ones, like shattered bits of broken glass, that spark and glint in the dark. Turning my thoughts again to my father, I realized that his most lasting legacy was probably his impact on the thousands of students with whom he interacted as a high school English teacher and faculty advisor. Finally, I thought of another lasting grin. Even though I did not know my maternal grandparents, I feel they have had a lasting influence on my life through their children, my aunts and uncles, wonderful people who so enriched my life that I think my grandparents must have been wonderful people too. So I end this essay with an image to evoke me accompanying my family in joyous song. That grin remains across the years from one generation to the next.